Cousin Internet, it's me, Cousin Todd, with Mama's Comedy Show. And with me is Cousin Ali. What? Are you actually saying something, or are you doing it?
I am saying something.
Oh, Jesus criminy.
What?
Which? Oh, yeah. Okay, there we go.
Oh, my goodness.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. It was a fun week. I just got back from New York City, so that was amazing. But, yeah, how are you?
I'm good. I'm tired.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Masturbating?
Yeah. Well, you know what? It takes a lot out of me. You see what I did there?
I do.
As a jerk-off joke. This is your first podcast back.
Yes, it is my first time back. It is nice to be back on the Mama's podcast.
Yeah. And things have changed since you were last on the podcast. You know what's funny is we came back our first week back here, and Cody and I recorded the first podcast back. But before we recorded that, I listened to the previous one, which was the going into the pandemic podcast.
Oh, wow.
Where we were like, Cody was like wishing the coronavirus well, and you know, it was going to do, it just had bad press. And then there was our apology of, we're so sorry we did that.
So it's Cody's fault.
Yeah, pretty much. But then last week we didn't have a podcast. Not that we didn't want to.
Right.
I showed up, and it was really important that I had my headphones on, because that first podcast back, it was so quiet. Like my side was really quiet because I couldn't hear because I didn't have headphones on. So I went like focused, like I got to get my headphones. I got to have my headphones. And then I showed up here with my headphones and nothing else. So we couldn't record the podcast.
Oh shit, dude.
But also, you're a TikTok celebrity now.
I am, kinda, I guess. I have almost 500,000 followers now.
Wait, almost half?
Yeah.
All right, never mind. Sorry. We'll change the subject. But you lost all of those followers at one point.
I did. I got a permanent ban, but I fought the system, and I won. So, yeah. TikTok is weird, man. They're so weird. If you get reported, like, there was a time where I was just getting reported for silly shit, like, no reason. And you appeal it, and it would come back, like, they'd bring the video back, but that stays on your record. Like, I felt like I was back in school. You know, it's on your permanent record. And so I was still racking up, I guess, violations.
Hold on. Try this microphone.
Okay. Because this one sucks?
Yeah, I think maybe that one sucks. But just try that one and see. Just because now that like I can hear better, you're sitting next to me. For those of you listening, Ali is sitting on my lap using a different microphone.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
Oh, there it is. Better?
Yep, that one's better.
Okay.
All right, go for it.
You have a shitty microphone. So, yeah, and then they just racked up all the violations, and I was in the middle of a TikTok live telling jokes, dad jokes, and I mentioned OnlyFans, and that's a big no-no. You can't advertise for OnlyFans.
Right.
But I wasn't advertising. You know, I made a joke about it, and that was the last straw, and then they banned me. So for about a week and a half, I didn't have an account.
Yeah, but you had a backup
I had my
account,
backup account, yeah.
which still had something like 30,000.
I think I only have like 11,000 on that one.
That's still a lot. 11,000 is. I mean, how many people stormed the Capitol? 11,000 is a pretty decent size, you know, of angry people.
Yeah.
But no, it's really good being back at Mama's and doing the show, and it's different for sure.
Yeah.
But it definitely, like, the minute we came back in this room, it was like, oh God, it feels so good.
Yeah, it was awesome. And that first show we did was great.
I mean, all of them are great.
Yes. But coming back, I felt like, all right, there's going to be a lot of rust. You know, we only did a handful of shows during the pandemic. I mean, we did the video ones, you know, the streaming ones.
Those were fun.
They were fun. The fact that Renette was naked the entire time, it was great.
I know. Yeah, and
so I got to ask you.
Yeah.
Do you play with the third nipple, or is it just for decoration?
She doesn't like to really make a big deal out of it, which is hard because it's so big.
Right.
Like it's mostly areola. Yeah, she doesn't like when you draw attention to it. But I mean, sometimes I'm like, hey, like that literally looks like a manhole cover rolling around in the middle of your chest.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, Cody and I were talking last week, and maybe you can help brainstorm this.
Okay.
But we talked a little bit about marketing and how it's different now, coming back post COVID because our house size is smaller.
Right.
So it's paying to advertise, which is the only way you can really advertise. And the way that we kind of built up our audience over the years is we had really good word of mouth.
Yeah.
I just posted on our Facebook page. One of our audience regulars found a video that someone made a few years ago that was top things to do in Orlando, and we were number 3 on that list.
Yeah.
And they were going through all of our reviews, and I was like, yeah, man, we've got really good word of mouth. But that's literally the only advertising outside of our bigger shows where we had access to the bigger theater and stuff like that where we could advertise. So we were trying to talk about things like what can we do to generate that word of mouth? Like what, I personally think naming the next variant of COVID mamas.
That would be good.
That would help us out.
Yeah.
But the other thing is what Cody and I kind of alluded to last week was if we were to do something like right now, we do sell t-shirts or we sell merch, but how that works is we're using those online swag places. We don't really make a ton of money off of that. Like we make a few bucks a shirt. But 100% of what we make off of that goes to advertising. Right. Like that's not going in anyone's pocket. That's just going to try to keep us going in that sense. But we talked about the prospect of doing a Patreon.
Yeah.
But the question is, what are we offering the patrons if we were to go that route?
I think doing specialized improvised things for them, like if it's a birthday, an anniversary, a divorce, we can do kind of like a slice of life type of thing.
Yeah, and we do that now for people who are celebrating birthdays in the we talked about setting up cameras at our shows and doing if you're not here throughout the week but you're a patron. Again, this is all like ideas against the wall. If we even were to do this, we film the shows, multi-camera shoot, edit it together, and then in the middle of the week, that episode drops to patrons who can watch it. I mean, the thing is one, I wouldn't want to half-ass the production, so we would need, we would mic ourselves and actually make the stage look a little bit more TV ready.
Right.
The other thing we talked about doing was like a video version of this, what we're doing right now, like the podcast.
I think that would be good too. I think when I did my show in New York, okay, they sold tickets for the live feed. So tickets were, I believe, $15 or $20, $15 online, $20 at the door. And it was $10 if you wanted to live stream it. So it was cool. Like I was like, okay, we actually had, I think we had like 20 people live streaming it.
Yeah.
So, that's $200.
I mean, it's something, yeah.
Yeah. And I think if you were to set up something, I don't know how they do it, where you have to pay to get the link to live feed. There
are companies that do that.
Yeah. And I think that might be a way. Here's what I'm thinking. If we can get the Jesus planes, the ones that do the skywriting.
Oh, in Orlando, the Jesus Loves You. And,
Jesus Loves Mamas.
Well, all we have to do really is hire a separate guy to follow the Jesus guy. So when the guy skywrites Jesus Loves up in the air, the other guy can put Mamas.
Yes.
And then if we're paying per letter, that works.
I think that would be good.
The guy who does that over Orlando, and if you're not from Orlando, this dude does it like I swear every day.
Yeah, he does it over the theme parks.
He's retired, and he does that on his own just because. Yeah. Like he's a lunatic.
Yes.
And
very much so.
And there's not a doubt in my mind that when that dude finally goes, I don't wish that on him. But I think he's going to take a lot of people out with him because he's probably going to be flying that plane He's gonna feel that tightness in his chest.
What I would love to see is he dies. I don't want to see him die. I don't want to see him die. Let's say so. But when he dies, hopefully at the ripe old age of 100,
right?
You know, in his bed with family. I hope that he goes to heaven and he's at the pearly gates and he knows he's getting in for all of that. And God just goes, "The fuck did you do to my sky?
Yeah, you vandalized it.
You think you're coming here? No. We're sending you to Cleveland."
Oh, shit.
I know.
Speaking, okay, so I just said, oh, shit, but I almost censored myself because of what I was doing earlier today, where I had to censor myself. Which brings me to a very interesting question, because you're a filthy performer.
Fuck yeah, I am.
Have you, or what is the closest you've gotten to actually using inappropriate language in front of an audience that was strictly forbidden to use inappropriate language?
like working at the theme parks and stuff? I have gotten close. There have been times where, especially doing improv stuff, where they set up a joke.
Right.
Like it's just, and then I see the words coming out of my mouth and I have to stop them. I'm like, it's been a lot. There have been a lot of times, especially once I started doing stand-up.
Right.
Because I was dealing a lot more with adult audiences and it was just more, it was out a lot. Like when I was in the theme parks full time, but I wasn't really doing anything else. I was doing sleuths. I was doing, taverns, things like that. It was easy because we had to keep it clean. So it was all the time. But when I started doing, mamas regularly and stand up regularly, it got more and more difficult.
Yeah. I was just today, I was working at a place where I was surrounded by children and I'm a disguised individual. And one of the things that I like doing is it's an improv game, but it gets the kids involved where I say, I'm trying to learn all about humor and the way jokes work. So I have a data bank or data bank of jokes. If you say a thing, I'll try to make up a joke about it. So it's 99 is the game. But man, you don't realize how dirty you are until a child says something. A child says something that in your mind, the first place you go is you're like, where it's like, name a thing, and they're like, cat, and immediately I want to go, pussy. but then I look at that little innocent face, and I say vagina.
Exactly. Pudding, people pudding holder.
People pudding holder?
That's what a vagina is.
People pudding. Baby batter. I have a few times. Oh, there's a famous story about a dude at Universal.
Oh, I know this story.
Who was stalling at the old Ghostbuster show.
No, I don't know that one.
He was stalling. His microphone wasn't working, so he was talking to the guests, and his microphone wasn't working, so he's shouting. He's blowing out his voice, and he just keeps getting from the stage manager the stretch. Like, you got to stretch, you got to hold because we're not ready for you yet.
Right.
And apparently, as the story goes, he was holding for 10 minutes, which now there's a cutoff. There's like a 5-minute, you can't hold beyond 5 minutes, but this was like 10 minutes or longer. He was holding. Microphone not working. He finally says to the audience, "You guys wait right here. I'll be back out in a second." He walks out the door. The minute he walks out the door, his microphone clicks up into the theater where he says, "What the fuck is taking so long?"
Yeah.
And he was fired for that.
Yep.
And I kind of go, because it's not his fault that his mic was up, but he was wearing a mic, but it wasn't working the entire time. And I wonder if a tech was like, "I'm going to get this dude fired today."
Maybe.
And then he was like, "Okay, wait, is he going backstage?" And unmute.
Yep.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
We actually had a note here the other day because our audience was laughing so loud, which is good. But we're at our new time at 8 p.m. We're intersecting with the Sleuth show happening.
Yep.
So all they could hear through the wall was people laughing, and they were like, "Hey guys, it was really loud. We could hear the audience laughing." And I was like, "Oh, well, maybe you should do a funnier show." No, it wasn't that, but it was definitely one of the challenges of our new time slot.
Yeah. But what do they want us to do? Hey guys, don't laugh. But just smile big.
Yeah, smile with your heart. Laugh
Yeah.
in your heart. What was the Japanese thing with the scream from your heart? When they were going on the roller coaster and they were saying don't scream because that spreads COVID while you're on a roller coaster.
Oh my God.
So they were saying scream from your heart. I'm 99% sure.
I would have screamed from my ass.
That's called diarrhea
Yes, it
or
is.
farting. What would
Both.
if a fart is an ass scream? What is diarrhea? An ass vomit?
Ass vomit.
Why don't we say that? Why do we have different words?
That would be good. Ass vomit. I think we should bring that into the lexicon.
There was back when you and I were a part of Duty Humor.
Mm-hmm.
I had written a sketch that we didn't do, and it was words that don't exist that should.
Okay.
And they were in the scene, and it was the whole point of the scene was the ridiculousness of profanity.
Right.
And it was two people doing a scene where they're saying dick, fuck, cocksucker, motherfucker. Like they're saying shit as many times, and every time they say it, there's a little ding, and then there's a counter where you see the word is being counted.
Okay.
And then like a cheesy guy comes out, and in my head it was you, who's like, all right, let's see how many times they said fuck. Bing, 31 times. Ooh, and then you're like, well, why is that a dirty word? It doesn't really, even if you take it into fornication, that's not a dirty thing. So,
Right.
So we need to make a word to replace this word, and it needs to have an actual meaning. Like, all right, how about cremis? Cremis is rectal blood
I remember this.
that occurs after anal trauma. For example, hey, is that cremis on this broom handle? And everything was like absolutely horrible, but the whole reason of it was going, see, this is dirty. Like,
Yeah.
This is something you should, like, shappy was the feeling that a pedophile has and it was like, he's feeling shappy. And you're like, that's a horrible thing. You should censor that word. But the word shit is censored, but caca is okay, or
Yeah.
poopy, they're the same thing.
It's exactly the same.
I think that's always been my kind of frustration with people who don't like dirty words.
Right.
Is it doesn't make sense. And we had one of our regulars found a video that someone had posted about the top things to do in Orlando, and we were number 3. And the guy was going through our reviews on the videos, and he's like, "It's such a good show. Look at all the positive reviews." And he said, the show is for adults. It's a dirty show. He's like, which is the reason for any negative reviews they have. And he went into our negative reviews, and it was like people who didn't like dirty humor. And I'm like, yeah, but like the shit poo-poo comparison,
Right.
like that doesn't make sense to me, that if a child says shit and the parent's like, no, that's dirty, well, what's the better word to use? Poo-poo. Well, how does that a different meaning? And it's not. And whether you say, I guess there is technically a difference between fucking and making love, but it's still the same mechanics.
Right. Yeah. Making love is, without the tying,
right,
and bleeding, and cremis.
And cremis. The cremis is also. It also sounds like Grimace's like cousin.
See,
McDonald's Grimace is a cousin.
See, I'm hearing somebody with a speech impediment. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Oh, hello.
Hello.
Popcorn people are leaving you some popcorn.
Oh.
To go eat because they're hungry.
We have.
Oh, that's
popcorn.
great.
That's great.
The people who used to come to our shows, who were like regulars,
Uh-huh.
who work at the popcorn place, they just brought us a whole thing of popcorn.
Yay.
It's called Winnegard.
Winogard?
Their last name?
Oh, well, yeah. No, they're very nice. They've
Awesome.
came to a few of our shows. They're going to get food.
It's got peanuts in it in case anybody has
Oh,
allergies.
okay. So
Okay.
we won't tell anyone. And
No,
then,
is Cody allergic? We'll give him some.
Yeah, we'll
Okay.
just
Good.
blow it into his face.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I have money for you too.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Okay, things are going great. We got money.
It almost sounded like a hit. Like, we're going to give it to Cody so he dies. Oh, I have money for you. Speaking of, yeah.
You have a child.
I do. As
two-
do you.
Two things that I know of.
Yeah.
Actually, I kind of hope that I do somewhere.
But I want to congratulate you. Your daughter, Erin, just graduated high school.
They're like my wife. My wife.
My wife.
She doesn't want to have children, and I do. So I just have to hope that one of my books does well enough that I can get a groupie. pregnant,
Yeah.
and then you know she's just gonna have to deal with it because it's like shit. You made $1 million off that book. I can't leave you now.
Yeah.
But yeah, but like speaking of children and peanuts and peanut allergies, that's something that's always fascinated me.
What's that?
How do you discover that your child has an allergy?
Well,
You know, I mean,
you
you can't
gotta-
just take the chance and be like, here, have some peanut butter. Why did you die?
yeah, I mean, like honestly, my brother's allergic to everything. Like he's allergic to ants, and you just find out. You're like, oh God, is that an ant bite? And now your leg is completely swollen. It's like, okay, now you know.
I mean, that's good, all well and good for like, you know, your leg is swollen. But what about things like peanut allergies where it's like their throat closes up and they die? I mean, in my head, you know, you hear about these peanut allergies and how horrible they are, or bee allergies even.
Yeah. Where they get into anaphylactic shock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, how do you even prepare for that?
See, a lot of people say that, you know, now we have peanut allergies because we're all soft. I guarantee you they had them back then, but they had no idea what it was. It's like, hey, what's wrong with Timmy? Timmy's gone now.
Yeah.
Okay, that must have been the pox.
Yeah, it was a demon.
Yeah.
A demon got him.
Yeah, a demon called Peanuts.
D's nuts.
D's nuts.
Bofa. That which I think would actually I did the Bofa thing the other day to someone where I just, you know, you just casually go, "Oh, Bofa was looking for you." And they're like, "What? Bofa was looking for you." Bofa who? Bofa these nuts. And I think if you're frozen, like let's say right now,
okay,
a meteor hits the Earth, and for some way you are the only survivor, but you're frozen in ice or they're able to resurrect only you.
Okay, so
2,000 years from now. Yes.
Okay.
And I feel like your first words should be, "I am Bofa," because I feel like no one will know that bit in 2,000 years. So you could be the person that brings it back.
Brings it back.
That's the main reason I want a comet to hit.
So I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought of something so dark that you couldn't, like, you're like, I can't put this.
Yeah.
I wrote a joke a couple weeks ago, and it made me giggle, but I'm like, I don't think I could do it on stage. I don't think I could.
Yeah.
I could do it.
What is it?
It's I can do it here. I'll do it here. But my stand-up isn't like dark. There's not a lot of dark in my stand-up, so
that's why I think it's good though to work it in, because if it's not a lot of dark and then you throw it in, it's a surprise.
So it goes. For anyone that has kids or wanting kids, please understand they are the biggest cock blockers on the planet. I remember my daughter, and it would be right when I was getting ready. Like my back is hunched, I'm getting in, and it's like right as I got in, Daddy! Like, all right, just ignore it. Just ignore it. Do it again. Daddy! Son of a... All right, here we go. Daddy! What? Get off of me, you're heavy.
I mean, maybe don't do that one.
Yeah, I was like, I can't do that one.
Yeah, there are definitely like there was a line in the book that I just wrote that you're a character in.
Mm-hmm.
There was a line that I put that was, I don't even think it was that bad of a line, but my editor, I basically told her, if there's anything that jumps out at you as like, ooh, that might be considered problematic, let me know,
mm-hmm.
and I can look at it. And there was one that she kept coming back to, and I didn't think it was that bad. And it was the description was the guy was laughing. There was a character who was said to be laughing like a mentally disabled man with silly putty, or it was something, or with a yo-yo, or something childish.
Yeah.
And she was like, I just feel like, and I thought saying mentally disabled was better than saying.
See, this brings us back to the shit, poo poo, caca.
Right? Yeah. And I did change the line to be something completely different. But yeah, speaking of the, I've had people write me about you.
Oh God.
Your character in the book, because in the book your character masturbates in a KFC parking lot. and it's a point of the main character learns this and then brings it up to every new person that you meet, like while they're just casually telling a story, and he's like, "Oh, and Ali masturbated in a KFC parking lot," and you're like, "You motherfucking son of a bitch!" Like, but I had people talk to me about your character specifically. They fell in love with your character.
Awesome.
Yeah, because you have a really nice arc. You go from masturbating in a KFC parking lot to making love in a KFC parking lot. That's actually going really well too. And I was talking to a friend of mine who puts out books as well.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking, I mean, listen, we're talking small numbers as far as, self-published authors do. But at one point, I made it to the top 100 of comedy sci-fi, which was nice. Like just to be in that top 100. But we can see, like, when people are reading the book,
right?
There's a program that, like Netflix for books, that Amazon lets certain people or people who pay for this thing do. And we make like a penny a page.
Okay.
So it's not a lot, but if they read your whole book, it could be $5-6.
Right.
So I was talking to her and I was like, yeah, I'm seeing the READ, the READ number. It's pretty good. Like I'm selling a few copies a day. Like it was definitely much higher when Multiverse of Madness came out.
Uh-huh.
But I said, yeah, I was getting like 3,000 page reads a day for a while, and then it just kind of stopped for a couple days, and then it jumped back up. And I was like, which is weird that it would stop for a couple days. And so we were having that conversation, and she was like, "Wait, how did you get that many page reads a day?" But I honestly, it was because the word multiverse was in the title. I think when Multiverse of Madness came out, people were like, "Search multiverse, multiverse stories." So there are a ton of people who
now.
Oh, you're buying it?
Buying it now.
So you can read about your masturbatory.
Yes. I want to know how I did.
Was
it original or extra crispy?
Spoiler alert! One of our audience regulars asked me, like when I was halfway through the book, and I did like I had alpha readers read the first half because I thought, is this too silly? Is this too strange? What's happening? And they all really liked it. But she was like, "Is Ali okay with you writing that stuff?" And I went, "What in particular?" And they're like, "About his wife leaving him and him." And I was like, "That didn't happen. Like, that was his character in the book." She's like, "Oh, okay. I just didn't know." And I was like, "No, I wouldn't name the character you. Like if something horrible happened to you that I wanted to put into a book, your name would be something else."
Right.
But yeah, she was very timid about it too. She was like, "Is he okay?
Oh my God.
Is he okay with that?" But anyway, we should start wrapping up just so we can set up for the actual show.
Yes, we should.
So Ali,
yes.
We were kind of all over the place this episode. What did you learn tonight?
I learned after years of therapy that what they did to me in baseball with the broom handle was called Christmas.
Christmas was the evidence that was left on the bat. And I learned something tonight, too. I learned that maybe you really did masturbate in a KFC parking lot. All right, we're Mama's Comedy Show. We're here every Friday night at 8 p.m. 8 p.m. Find us online. Search us on Facebook, facebook.com/Mama's Comedy Show, or on Instagram, we're Mama's Comedy. Ali, where can people find you?
Well, as we mentioned earlier, you can find me on TikTok at @A_Ali_Flores, or just #joke time. Usually my stuff comes up immediately. You can find me on Instagram at comedic actor, or on Twitter at comedic actor Ali.
Yeah, I post under your joke time hashtag too.
Yeah.
I think you told me to. I'm not.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to, but you have like 500,000 followers.
Yes.
Ready to destroy the country at your beck and call. All right. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.